Black girl risks her life to save a pregnant cop from speeding van, it changes her life forever. The rain came down in thick, cold sheets that late October morning in Atlanta, Georgia, the kind that soaks through your clothes and your bones. 15-year-old Amani Wells stood beneath the leaky bus shelter outside Fulton High, clutching a tattered geometry book to her chest. She was late again. The heater in their apartment had gone out, and her baby brother had a fever. Mom had picked up an extra shift at the diner. As usual, Amani was left to manage the chaos. But none of that mattered compared to what she would face just minutes later, when a single, split-second decision would change her entire life. She glanced up from her book, tired eyes scanning the intersection across the street. The crosswalk light blinked red. Cars whooshed by, tires hissing on the slick pavement. That's when she saw her. A police officer in uniform, visibly pregnant, struggling to help an elderly woman who had slipped on the sidewalk. The officer's brow furrowed in concentration, one hand braced on her swollen belly, the other extended to lift the woman. Amani noticed her immediately, not just because a pregnant cop wasn't something you saw every day, but because of the way she moved, determined but cautious, clearly in pain. Then, everything unraveled. From the corner of her eye, Amani saw it, a van barreling down the road, its wheels hydroplaning, its driver seemingly unaware that the light had turned red. The officer and the elderly woman were still in the crosswalk, oblivious. Amani's heart lurched. For one breathless second, she froze. Then instinct took over. She sprinted. Across the flooded street, into the traffic. Horns blared, tires screeched, but she didn't stop. She reached the officer just in time, hurling her body forward and shoving both women out of the van's deadly path. The world became a blur of screeching metal, shouts, and then, silence. When Amani opened her eyes, her leg was twisted beneath her at an unnatural angle. Pain pulsed through her like electricity. The officer, Officer Ramirez, was cradling her head, her eyes wide with tears. "You saved us," she whispered, voice trembling. "You saved my baby." News of the accident spread like wildfire. "Teen hero saves pregnant cop," blared across television screens and social media. Reporters camped outside the hospital. But Amani didn't care about the cameras or the praise. She lay in her hospital bed, leg in a cast, unsure how to process everything. The doctor said it might be months before she could walk properly again. The weight of that reality crushed her. She was just a girl from the projects, quiet, invisible. And now? Now she was something else. But what did it mean? The visit started the next day. Officer Ramirez came first, belly round and hands full, flowers, snacks, a little stuffed giraffe. "My daughter's going to know your name," she told Amani, voice fierce. "She's going to know you're the reason she's alive." Then came strangers. A local pastor dropped off prayer cards. A single mom from Savannah wrote a handwritten letter thanking her for her bravery. A group of students from a nearby prep school launched a fundraiser to help with medical bills. Donations poured in. More than that, kindness poured in, genuine, open-hearted kindness from people who didn't know her, didn't care about her zip code or skin color. Still, Amani struggled. She hated being called a hero. Heroes weren't broke. Heroes didn't have to skip meals to feed their siblings. Heroes didn't cry themselves to sleep wondering if they'd ever dance again, run again, be normal again. One evening, as twilight painted the hospital room in gold, Officer Ramirez returned, this time in her off-duty clothes. Her hands trembled as she held up a simple envelope. "I wanted you to be the first to know," she said, eyes wet with emotion. "We named her Aria. After you. Amani Ramirez. Middle name. It means peace, right?" Amani's throat tightened. She nodded, wordless. "She's strong. Just like you," the officer added, placing the envelope in her hand. Inside was a letter from the police department, an invitation to speak at the city's annual Youth Heroism Awards. But more than that, there was a full scholarship to any college in Georgia. The department pulled some strings, Ramirez smiled. We want to invest in who you are. Not just what you did. It wasn't until weeks later, after her cast came off and the endless physical therapy began, that Amani finally allowed herself to hope. She took the stage at the award ceremony with a cane in one hand and her voice trembling in the microphone. I didn't think I was special, she said to a packed auditorium. I didn't think people like me got noticed. But that day, I didn't act because I thought I was a hero. I acted because someone needed help. I acted because my mom taught me that if you can help someone, you do. No questions asked. Tears streamed down faces in the crowd. Aria's tiny wail echoed from the back row where Officer Ramirez stood, holding the baby close. In a world where people are divided, Amani continued, where we're told to fear each other, what if we just chose love instead? What if we looked out for each other like family, even when we're strangers? The auditorium erupted in applause. From that day forward, Amani's life shifted. She wasn't invisible anymore. She became a voice in her community, advocating for youth programs, mentoring younger girls, and speaking out against violence. She never forgot the brokenness she came from, but she no longer let it define her. A year later, she walked again, slowly but surely, across the stage at her high school graduation, cane gone, head held high. Officer Ramirez and baby Aria were in the front row, cheering louder than anyone. And perhaps the greatest moment came quietly, on a warm spring afternoon, when Amani sat under a tree with Aria toddling beside her. She held the toddler close, brushed a curl from her tiny forehead, and whispered, "Your life matters. And so does mine." Because in saving someone else, Amani had discovered the most extraordinary truth: we all carry the power to change a life, even our own, with a single, selfless act. And sometimes, that's all it takes to light up the world.